gentlemen, pimps, whores, necrophiles, sheepshaggers, miscellaneous. I do have some sad news to impart before this afternoon begins. Unfortunately, the video of Shockheaded Peter has been found to be unavailable. Consequently, this afternoon, you will be watching an Open University documentary from 1976 about the restoration of 18th century Russian textiles. This will be followed by tea and buns down in the reception. Good afternoon. Welcome to the 2010 Tiger Lillies Feces Fest. If you've not been to one of these before, what it does involve, you probably notice the lack of toilet facilities around this auditorium. Basically, you feel free to go where you're sat. And after you've gone, you may wish to pass the contents to the person next to you, can take it home as a souvenir. Speaking of souvenirs, you probably will notice as we came in today, we passed through the silver section. Generally, the V&A has told us that when the presentation is over this afternoon, you may wish to go to one of the cases and take one away as a free gift with their blessing. Hello, most of you will have no idea who I am. Half the time I haven't myself. I'm nobody of any import whatsoever. I only joined the Tiger Lillies forum last year. If you are on the forum, you'd know me as Guildford Ghost. Hello. I have nothing to do with arranging this afternoon's entertainment. Hello. But because I'm allowed now to Git, who likes making a tit of himself in front of 100 people, I volunteered to give the introduction this afternoon. I asked on the Tiger Lillies forum late last year if a video had ever been made of the classic seminal performance of Shockheaded Peter at the Lyric Theatre in the late 90s. And I had a reply that was a good question. And Old Fan, Amanda, some of you may know who's out in the States, she actually found out that there was an archive copy held at the V&A. She then passed the matter over to Karen Garcia, who's here. There's Karen. Who's come from the States just to hear me give the introduction this afternoon. As soon as I sat down, she'll be flying back. Little does she know. And she actually got in touch with the V&A and discovered they did indeed have a copy, and she actually arranged the setting this afternoon in this wonderful auditorium. All the rest of the arrangements were actually done by our legendary Belinda, who many of you know as Wellington or Welly, who is sitting over there. And now we find ourselves in this wonderful position. Straw-Headed Peter was not originally called Straw-Headed Peter. Heinrich Hoffmann in 1844 found himself without any interesting gifts for his son at Christmas. All the children's books and tales he thought were rather tame, so he wrote his own in a notebook. And it proved so popular with people who saw it that it was actually published in 1845. But the name by which we know it, Strudel Peter, or Straw-Headed Peter in English, did not actually come until the year 1858. When it was first published in 1845, I have to write this down, it went by the rather awkward title of Funny Stories and Whimsical Pictures with 15 Beautifully Coloured Panels for Children aged 3 to 6. Really catchy name. So you can kind of see why they changed it. It was first published in English in the year 1848, so for 10 years you could buy it in England under that title. Obviously it's remained in print ever since. It's one of the most famous children's books there are, a selection of cautionary tales in which the people involved are nearly all children who misbehave in various ways, and sometimes they end up ill or with some kind of remonstration, and sometimes they end up dead. Of course, when the Tiger Lillies took it over in the late 90s, they all ended up dead. The musical of what they call a junk opera actually came in 1998. It was commissioned by the West Yorkshire Playhouse in Leeds, and also by the Lyric Theatre in Hammersmith. It had its debut in Leeds, and then it transferred to the Lyric in Hammersmith afterwards, from where the picture, the film you'll be seeing this afternoon comes from. It then went on a world tour, and indeed, even to this day, it finds itself still toured, and very occasionally, there has been the rare occasion when the Tiger Lillies themselves have found themselves doing one special performance. I believe there's one, was it in Eastern Europe? Not so long ago? Or am I completely making it up in line and fooling all these people?
You're making it up.
I'm making it up. The Tiger Lillies had nothing to do with any presentation ever of Shockheaded Peter. It was all in your minds. Got out of that one. Research better next time. One thing I better point out about this afternoon's performance is that this is, of course, the first ever public showing, because this particular film was not professionally filmed for any kind of commercial release. It was made for the National Video Archive of Performance, and it was filmed during the performance of Shockheaded Peter at the Lyric Theatre on the 9th of May 1998. Consequently, you may find, none of us have seen it, so you may find it may have a slightly amateurish tint to it, but of course that all led to the charm. Bear in mind, you are the first group for the public who've ever actually seen this, so we are indeed very special. The Tiger Lillies, I don't need to really tell you anything about them. I'm sure you all know all about them. Formed in London in 1989. They've been touring the world for years. One of the most prolific performers and recorders of material ever. Some of the recent projects have involved The Seven Deadly Sins, The Little Match Girl, The Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. I'm sure many of you have actually seen the wonderful new music video for Living Hell. And the recent project is one of Cockatoo Prison in Australia. Very much. You may have noticed the reason I'm looking over there. I'm sure you've all been aware that although Adrian Stout confirmed he would be the member of the Tiger Lillies who would be arriving to join us this afternoon, Adrian Stout isn't here, but instead he's actually split himself in half with a blowtorch and a rusty saw, and he has presented us with the wonderful presences of Mr. Adrian Hughes and Mr. Martin Jacks. Welcome indeed, gentlemen. Not forgetting that by any means at all, we are also joined by the wonderful presence of Mr. Julian Bleach from the original production. Julian, how lucky we are. Patrick! Fantastic, just in time. Welcome, Mr. Stout. And indeed, they all travelled down from Scotland yesterday, especially to be here. I believe Adrian's Facebook status said it was a wonderful journey, blue skies, and not a single caravan in sight. But I have heard something about a Thelma and Louise impersonation, which a photograph has been taken. Something involving driving in a headscarf, which Belinda's told me about. Just picture that in your minds. Don't try and see any photos. It'll probably be far too scary. So I've spoken far enough, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to introduce to you, you lucky bastards, Shockheaded Peter.